Okay, guys, I had a friend tree fall into the neighbor's yard, and she contacted me to come and cut the tree up and remove it. So I thought this was a good video to talk about who's responsible for it, because this is a huge issue, and this is actually pretty common. Normally, after a storm or high winds, that you're going to have a tree fall from your yard into the neighbor's, or vice versa. Maybe the tree in your neighbor's yard falls into yours, and who's responsible for it, and who's responsible for the damage. So, first off, I'm going to go ahead and explain that wherever the tree falls is the property owners in which it falls on is reliable for it. So if your tree falls into the neighbor's yard, the neighbor is responsible for the portion of the tree that's in their property. So if it does any damage, like falls on the house or falls on the garage or hits the car, that's on your neighbor's insurance. And they're actually responsible to also cut up that tree and have it removed or pay someone to do it. So I first had this happen to me when I was 25. Right here are some pictures that fell. So a long time ago, I had this tree from the neighbor's yard fall into my dog kennel where I had that fence up, and it had crushed some of the fence. And I had contacted the neighbor, and he pretty much told me that it's not his. This guy had several rentals, so he already had dealt with this in the past. And he flat out told me that that's my responsibility. That's my tree. I have to also pay for my own fencing and all that. So I went ahead and called my insurance company, and my insurance company told me the same thing. He said that he's correct, that this would fall under an act of God, and the tree that's on my property now is my responsibility to have removed, cut up, or whatever, and any damage that is done would be on me or the insurance. And he said that he could take out a claim on it, but I was going to have to be paying the deductible, which I wasn't going to do. So at this time, I had really no money. So I was a little pissed, but I had to go out and buy a chainsaw, and I cut up the tree myself and got rid of it. And that's when I first learned that, fallen trees are just wherever it falls. So back to this one is this is my friend's tree that fell into the neighbor's yard, and she had contacted me and wanted me to cut it up. So I told her that I would, and I also tried to explain to her that it was actually the neighbor's responsibility, and she had already felt like it was her responsibility because it was her tree. And she said that if I was going to go ahead and do it, that she'd be happy to go ahead and get it taken care of. So I told her when I was going to be able to come over and do it, and I did tell her to go ahead and contact the neighbor and let them know that you were going to have people in her yard, because again, it would be trespassing if I went ahead and did it without them knowing. So she contacted them, and at first, I also warned her and said that they're probably going to think that it's your responsibility. So I was like, explain if you have any issues, just explain to them that it's their responsibility. And so she had called the neighbor, and they also said that this is a kind of inconvenience because it's between where they go to get to their cars, and they were wanting it done ASAP. They were trying to say like within the next couple of days. And they also informed her that the tree did damage to her garage and the car, and they were wanting compensated for it. So at this time, she went ahead and explained to them that the damages to the garage and the car and actually the tree falling into their yard is all their responsibility. And if they wanted the tree done any sooner than she could get to it, that they are welcome to call and get their own people to come and remove that tree on their at their own cost. And that anything else, they'd still also have to contact their insurance company. So the neighbor did say that they were going to contact their insurance company because they were seeming like it wasn't their responsibility. So I also had her contact my friend. I had my friend contact her insurance too to go ahead and confirm it. And she said that her insurance company said the exact same thing I was saying, that the tree is actually the neighbor's responsibility now. While this discussion was still going on and they were, talking about when we were going to get there, I actually met my friend over there to look at the yard because the neighbor had also mentioned that they didn't want any cars or vehicles in the yard. And I was actually wanting to park the truck and trailer in the right of way kind of thing. There's like that 10 foot, it's not quite 10 foot, but 5 foot of the yard that's right by the road. It's called the right of way. You maintain it. But I was wanting to park up in there, and the neighbors had actually said that they didn't want any vehicles parked up in there. So I was trying to get my friend to get them to let me park there. Otherwise, I wasn't really interested in getting them logs out of there. It's just going to be way too much work for me to take those so far away. That street was no parking, but as we were looking at the yard, the neighbors were actually walking their kids and stuff, and we had talked to them, and they said that there's a I could park in the driveway, and the driveway went up by their garage. So I told them that I could probably do that. I'd have to unhook the trailer, and since it's going to be multiple trips of those brushes, I think I made 3 trips with those branches. I still have to unhook it, but I told them that would be fine, just because it wasn't going to be too much more work. But normally I try not to unhook the trailer when I'm just going to be there loading up stuff for like half an hour or something. But I decided I'd go ahead and do it. But this also led into me thinking, hey, I see why this is like that, because when your tree falls into the neighbor's, or vice versa, let's say your neighbor's tree falls into your yard and it's your neighbor's responsibility to get rid of that tree. Let's say you start saying, well, you can't do this, or you can't use that, or you have to do it this way. It creates a huge problem, of getting that tree out of there. And it's really like, I would say it would be very hard, and you can't really just go in there and do the work because it's not on your property. So you could be literally trespassing. So I see why I think almost all states, I couldn't find a state that it didn't do this, but I can see why when a tree falls into the yard, it's the property owners in which the tree falls on, just because there's going to be tons of issues on who can go into the yard, what you can bring, and how you can get that tree out of there. For example, let's say this was a ginormous tree that you couldn't get out of there without heavy equipment, and the people just didn't want you to use a skid loader or a tractor or any other means to get that tree out of there, and that was the only way that it could be took out of there. There's no way you could be responsible to get that tree out of there. It has to go onto the property owner. So after I was seeing this, it kind of made a lot more sense to me on why it is this way. And again, when you have a neighbor's tree fall into your property, I mean, it's going to be so frustrating that you're going to have to pay to get rid of that tree that wasn't even on your property and wasn't even your tree, and now you're going to have to foot all that cost. So it sucks, but it is what it is, and that's kind of the reasoning that I can kind of see why it's that way. But I'll go ahead and let you guys watch the rest of this video. Hopefully this helps. Again, guys, don't just take this video for it. If you're having any issues, go ahead and call your insurance agency and verify it and figure it out. Also, of course, if it falls on your house or their house, for sure, 100% call the insurance company, because it might be something that you might want to file a claim on. It depends on how much damage it does. So hopefully this will steer you in the right direction. But again, call the insurance company and go ahead and figure out who's responsible for it.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yeah, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range, cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Feel low, you still go. Go, go slow, you still go. Go, there's no hope, you still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Hey, I got something to say. I'm just so sick of hearing everyone complain. I know it's tough and I know there's pain, but hitting bottom is the